How you doing? I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Today I wanted to talk about 10 reasons for stopping drinking alcohol. Now I'm going to split these reasons up into sort of 5 sort of away from reasons, so you're moving away from the pain, and 5 reasons for moving into something, so the benefits of quitting, what's going to happen to you after you've stopped drinking alcohol. So the first one is that alcohol is a drug. No matter what you think about alcohol yourself, we grow up thinking, it's just a natural part of our lives. It's a beverage, but it's a drug, and it's a fairly dangerous drug at that. It's more akin to heroin than it is to coffee. Let's put it that way. When you drink alcohol, you're really a drug user. You're using a drug, and you get tolerance levels. The tolerance levels decrease over time, so you need more of the drug to get the same hit, and you get all the background crap because of your drinking alcohol. You start seeing alcohol as a part of your life. You start focusing on alcohol more and more. Alcohol starts to become much more a part of who you are and what you do, and it starts infiltrating into so many different aspects of your life. Slowly but surely, it's an insidious sort of an influence in your life. The second one is that most of us are brainwashed into believing that alcohol is a normal part of life, and the alcohol companies want you to believe that. The more they can get you to believe that alcohol is a normal part of your life, it's a normal part of society, it's a normal part of celebrations, of having fun, the better it is for them. They sell more product. They also brainwash us into believing that it's not the drug that's at fault, that most people can take the drug and it's only very few people that can't take the drug. Well, as I said, it is a drug. It has all the hallmarks of a drug. It's a neurotoxin. As soon as it gets inside of your body, it starts to cause havoc. Your body goes into alert mode. It starts to, when you first put alcohol into your system, your system rejects it wholeheartedly. There's no two ways about it. If you, once you drink too much of this toxin, more than your body can handle, and when you start out, your liver is capable of handling 1 unit of alcohol per hour. The normal adult liver, normal healthy adult liver. Now, the more you mistreat your liver, the less this amount gets over time, so the less that your body can handle. And so once you go over that limit as a youngster, the first thing that your body wants to do is to throw it up, to get it back out of your system. And eventually it gets to the stage where it can handle more alcohol because it obviously thinks that this is going to be a normal part of your life, and it becomes a normal part of your life. You're putting it in to have fun, and your body is trying to get it out of your system because it's a toxin. It's one of the only drugs that can get through the blood-brain barrier to your brain, straight through your brain without being diluted or anything. And that blood-brain barrier is there for the purpose of protecting your mind against foreign intoxicants, from alien intoxicants inside your body and natural intoxicants inside your body that your brain doesn't want there. So this is why once the alcohol gets through there, it starts killing brain cells, and once these brain cells start to die, then your brain is going to suffer. Your functionality is going to suffer as a human being, both mentally and physically. So it's one of those things that you don't want in your brain is alcohol, pure alcohol. I mean, alcohol is used as a solvent. It's also used as a fuel. It's used to rub down greyhounds in Ireland, where I come from. So that's the third reason, is alcohol causes damage to your brain. Not only does it kill brain cells, but it interferes with the natural chemical processes that are already going up there. If you think about your brain as the control panel, as the control deck, where the pilot sits, sort of thing, controls everything that you do, everything that you feel, all the emotions and feelings physically and mentally, controls all your thoughts. And you don't want something as alien and as toxic as alcohol floating around in your brain. And that's obviously going to cause both long-term and short-term brain damage, right? I mean, the long-term brain damage can just really screw around with you. You know, it can cause a lot of problems in your long-term. Some of these long-term brain effects can be irreversible. And number 4, alcohol also causes over 200 different health conditions. So you're talking about a lot of physical ailments. There's not one organ of your body that is not affected by alcohol. You know, from your liver, obviously, to your heart, your kidneys, your lungs, your skin, your pancreas. It affects your respiratory system, your cardiovascular system. It affects everything. It gets everywhere. So if you take your liver can basically metabolize 1 unit of alcohol per hour. This is a healthy liver. 1 unit of alcohol per hour is a very small glass of wine, not a big glass of wine. It's probably about 1/10 of a bottle of wine. So your body takes 10 to 12 hours to go through 1 bottle of wine, to clear itself of 1 bottle of wine. Number 5 is that alcohol damages your life. No matter what way you look at this, you know, we've all got opportunity cost. We've all got 24 hours in the day. And not only does alcohol prevent you from doing certain things while you're drunk, while you've got the alcohol in your system, not only because certain things are illegal to do, but because certain things are physically impossible to do once you've got alcohol into your system. But you've also got the opportunity cost. So once you have the alcohol in your system, your brain just is not capable of doing certain things, right? You know, people think, well, you know, the alcohol takes so long for your body to clear, but how long does it take to get outside of your brain? You know, how long does it take before the effects have completely worn off? And if you're a regular drinker, does the effects of alcohol ever completely wear off? Are you completely handicapping yourself from day one? That's the way I felt. And I only realized that once I stopped drinking alcohol. And they're the things I want to talk about now. Now, from the perspective of quitting drinking, I started feeling better from day one, from the first day that I stopped. I mean, obviously, when you go into this with a hangover, but I didn't start out with a hangover. The last day that I drank, I only drank a half a glass of wine, so I was nowhere near having a hangover on the first day that I stopped drinking. So, you know, once I got into my first week and my first month, I really started to feel the benefits, especially when I knew I wasn't going to go back onto it, and I could start to plan not only a year, but 2 years, 5 years, 10 years into my life without alcohol. Now, beforehand, whenever I was drinking, it was always a case of 1 step forward, 2 steps back. You know, whenever I made plans, short-term plans, they didn't always pan out because of the alcohol, because, you know, I get sidetracked by going out drinking, or I go out drinking and I couldn't be bothered to do anything the next day. And so many of those days, when you add them up and you sort of give in, at the end of the day, you start to say to yourself, well, what's the point? You know, and you don't make the big plans that you want to achieve in your life. You know, you don't set the big goals that you want to achieve in your life. So from that perspective, it's just your life starts to regress and go backwards. Well, once you get alcohol out and you know that there's never going to be any more hangovers, right? That you're going to wake up every day without another hangover. That if you make a plan today, the likelihood is that you're going to carry on with it tomorrow. That the likelihood is that when you do make a plan, you will have the stamina to do it, because you're not handicapping yourself with alcohol. You haven't been handicapping yourself with alcohol. And so many of these other areas, you'll find that your life is just takes an upward swing, you know, from relationships with your partner, maybe your husband or your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, with your family, with your friends, I mean, a lot of my friendships were with people who were doing the same thing as me. So, we were basically just encouraging each other to do the same thing all the time. And when I stopped drinking, I drifted apart from those friends. It was hard at first because nobody wants to sort of do that, Everyone wants to be in the midst with their friends, It's a part of your life, Your friendships are what keep you going, and it's a hard thing to do to separate yourself from your friends in that way, first of all, because you're not drinking anymore, they are still drinking, and there's sort of a gap which just naturally comes about. But after a while you start to find better friends. And when I'm talking about better friends, I'm not talking about better people. I'm talking about people who their focus is not on sitting at a bar and putting money across the counter and swilling down a load of alcohol. Their focus is on something completely different. Now, a lot of my friends are still drinkers, but they're not in the same league as what my old friends were. My old friends were drinkers, period. They were just, this is what we used to do. We used to go out drinking, So from that perspective, it's just a much better life because you've got people who are pulling you forwards with them instead of people who are dragging you back with them, And that's a big difference. You also get a bigger emotional support with these people. You get a much broader emotional support from yourself. And I know that's difficult to sort of see while you're in the middle of it, but when I was drinking, a lot of my emotions were either dampened down because I drank to push down certain emotions, or I drank to sort of lift other emotions, So in order to have fun, to go out and feel pleasure, I had to have a drink. In order to get rid of pain and to sort of relax, I had to have a drink. So there was two sides of this. So on one side, I needed to drink to build up my emotions. On the other side, I needed to drink to dampen the emotions. And eventually those emotions just started to disappear. I didn't feel any of those emotions anymore, So once you stop drinking, you'll start to build up your life again. These emotions will come back to the surface. And life in general just becomes much more diverse. It becomes much more interesting because, as I say, when you're a drinker, you tend to do more and more things. When I started out drinking first, for instance, I was drinking because I wanted to be a man, right? I wanted to feel grown up. That was my motivation for doing it. I didn't want to look like a coward in front of my friends either, So there's a bit of peer pressure and there's internal reasons why you want to start drinking. Then gradually I wanted to drink because I wanted to overcome the shyness, right? And I found that going into a pub and having a few drinks, I could talk to women without shyness, or I could at least push down the shyness. Then you start to drink because you want to relax and you feel like you're relaxing. Then you start to drink because that's what you do at the weekend, You drink at the weekends. Then you start to drink because it's just what you do at the end of the day, right? You start to drink because you're celebrating. You start to drink because you want to de-stress. All of these things start to become a part of why you're drinking, the reasons why you're drinking. So your life becomes much more focused down on one thing. If we were going away on holidays, it was always about alcohol. If we were going out for the day out, it was always going back to a bar and having a few drinks with a meal. Having a meal was always having a few drinks and that kind of thing. So once you stop drinking, your whole life expands again and becomes much more interesting because you have to think about things that you've got to do, right? You've got to think about ways to relax. You've got to think about ways to deal with sort of anxieties, whether those anxieties are pressure from your life in general, or you may be still shy. I mean, a lot of the shyness doesn't disappear because you're drowning it out with alcohol. You don't deal with the actual underlying problems. You just push them down. But once these problems come back up, that's why it's difficult for some people to deal with these things, but there's a lot of ways to do it, right? There's a lot of tools out there. There's a lot of help that you can get to deal with these things and to accept and allow these things to become a big part of your life, right? So, you just get a better view on life. You get a better view on yourself from your own perspective and from other people's perspective. You become a better role model. I mean, I found myself, that was one of the reasons I quit drinking in the first place, was because I thought I was just being a bad role model to my son. So it was one of the main considerations. I've been thinking about it before, and there was other reasons why I wanted to stop drinking, but being a better role model to him was one of the best things. And just over the last 5 years since I've stopped drinking, I feel like I'm really filling that role in. I'm being a better role model to my partner, to my family, to my I remember sitting at the Christmas dinner table a year after we'd stopped drinking, and we had a lot of the members of our family, and one of my sisters turned around to me and she said, if there was any member of this family now who after a year would have given up the smokes, given up the booze, become a vegan, was walking 100 kilometers a day and had written a book, had done an audio book, and done so much in this 1 year, it wouldn't have been me, because beforehand I was the most heaviest drinker in the family. I was the smoker. I was the typical sort of archetypal male of the family, me eating, sort of exercise just to put muscle on, that was it, even though I didn't do much of that. So I think, looking after myself and looking after my family and trying to do things that are influencing other people is just, it's being a better role model, and it's a great place to be, I feel like I feel younger, right? I mean, I feel younger now than I did 20 years ago, if that makes sense. Now I'm in my early 50s now. I've just started going back to the gym 3 months ago, and I've been going consistently to the gym for the last 3 months. But I've been doing so much. I mean, I've taken up yoga since I stopped drinking. I've, like I said, I've done at least 60, 70 kilometers every week walking. I've gone mountain climbing. We do a lot of mountain climbing around here. Cycling. There's just so much now that is in my life that makes me feel better, makes me feel good about myself. When I was a drinker, I could hardly get myself up off the couch most of the times. I just wanted to sit down and do nothing. And everything is suffering. So from that, I feel like I feel younger, and I feel like I look younger as well. I've got much more self-respect. You lose your self-respect over time. It's like the same with your virtues and your values. Everyone starts off with a certain amount of values in their lives. Alcohol, like any drug, is going to slowly but surely chip away at those values. And it's not something that you notice big time, because it is such an insipid process. It's a process that lasts over many years. And it's only when you actually stop and you start to think about these things that you realize how many of your values have actually been chipped away, have just disappeared into the wayside. Not maybe that you've lost all your values, but I'm saying that you've watered them down in order to accommodate your lifestyle, So, and that's really about 10 of them. I can't remember how many of that is now, but there's other things like more money. I have more money now in my life because I've quit drinking, not only because I'm not spending the money on alcohol anymore, and on the other rubbish stuff that I was buying when I was drinking alcohol, a lot of fast food, all that kind of stuff, which was adding to my ill health, and taking away from my pocketbook. But because your brain is functioning much better, you're much more productive. So when you're more productive, you earn more money, regardless of what you're doing. If you're working for yourself or you're working for somebody else, you're always going to be worth more, and you will bring in more, you'll attract more money, you'll bring in more money, My bank account has never been healthier because I've stopped drinking, right? Because I'm not doing that to myself anymore. Because, as I say, not only because of the money that I'm saving, I worked it out that we were spending about 1,000 euros a month on alcohol and the other paraphernalia, plus all the other money that I was losing because of hangovers when I couldn't be bothered working, and just because I was unproductive. I wasn't at my peak, and I feel that I've got up to my peak now, so there's so many more things that you will discover if you stop drinking alcohol and you get it out of your system. I'll do another few videos on this, I think, because it's important to understand from the perspective that you're not going to see a lot of these things on day one, right? Once you stop drinking alcohol and you step across that line, some of these things take a long time to come about, but you will see them gradually. You'll feel better. sort of almost, within a week you'll start to feel better. You'll sleep better. You'll feel like your skin is a lot better. You'll feel that you look younger. That you feel younger. You'll definitely see the difference in your bank account after a few weeks, because you're not spending the money anymore. You'll see your relationships with other people, both from your perspective looking outwards, how you view other people, right, and how they view you as well, which is so much more important. If you've got children as well, this is one thing that I always regret, was I never stopped drinking and smoking and doing various other things when my son was born. Wish I'd done that. I didn't do that. Didn't stop until he was a grown man. But it doesn't mean to say that I can't be still a good role model now. That's what my aim is all the time. So look, if you want any help to stop drinking alcohol, come on over to alcoholmastery.com and click on this. There's a big button on the front of the thing. Just click on that and you'll see a pop-up window. Just leave your name and email address and I'll send you out a couple of different video courses, a couple of books. I'll give you as much help as I can, because I believe that the more people that can get this into their heads, that you don't need AA to do this, right? You don't need to have anything outside of yourself, right? All you need is what's in your brain. You control most of it. Even if you go to the most expensive dry up clinic in the world, right, you've still got to do this for yourself. They can't do it for you. They can teach you some things, but you've still got to do it for yourself. And this is what Alcohol Mastery is all about, is trying to teach you how to do this on your own, that you can do it on your own, that you've got the ability and the control to do this on your own. So come over there, like I said, put your name and email address in and I'll send you this stuff out straight away. Until next time, I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Take good care of yourself, keep the alcohol out of your mouth and stay safe, right? Onwards and upwards. Take care. Bye-bye now.